friends, today we are visiting the township of Belakong in the city of Kuala Lumpur. Originally an area for tin mining surrounded by rubber estates, Belakong has been redeveloped into a residential township flanked by factories and office complexes. One of the many factories in Belakong is SSN Medical Products, a latex manufacturer. We will be visiting Mr. Clinton Ang, the CEO of SSN, and his team. Mr. Ang will be walking us through his factory and sharing his leadership journey with us in this industry.
Hi, I'm Clinton Ang, Ang Tek Leong for full, and I've been in this industry in the manufacturing of gloves and condoms for more than 20 years now. Around 1997, my dad said that he wanted to go into this industry, and so it was a brand new startup for us, and I got roped in to help him out with the setting up of the factory. After we set up the factory, I started to find out that the rubber industry, it's one of the important industries. Well, manufacturing is not really everyone's cup of tea, but somehow I got interested in it. It kind of grew on me, the various aspects of manufacturing, but it was really a learning curve. So I think entrepreneurship runs in our family. For me, taking care of SSN Medical Products, growing it was just starting to becoming like my calling. Early on in the early years, we had to draft out the mission and vision statement. Our mission was very clear, and that was simply just to make the world a safer place to live. Well, the vision has always been the same, and that is to own the category where we compete in. That's our vision. What's the role of a leader, or what does a leader do? I think number one, it's to inspire. People want to be led, unless there are those who aspire to do better and all that. We are glad if there are leaders. In fact, there are leaders among our workforce. I got on more responsibilities, a much bigger workforce. Bigger turnover means bigger headaches and more stress. From that on until when we moved to this new premises, those were very stressful years. We took on the other operations without having ready funds. Had workers that were already not paid for 3 months. Workers were getting restless. So it was somewhere around that time, I think it was around September 2009 that we just had a meeting with all the workers, operators, foreigners, and everything that said, look, don't worry about it. We need you guys to come in and work because I'm taking over and your salaries will be paid. We are glad that most of them continue to stay here. Many of these workers are still with us throughout the last 10 years. I feel that leaders are made through crisis, and we have seen through the scripture that leaders are oftentimes not the first and natural choice. God picks them out to lead nations, to lead people out of crisis. You do question yourself many times whether, why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself in this situation? Do I need the stress or not? People are looking up to you for that assurance, for that confidence. I had nothing. All I had was just to tell them, look, come to work tomorrow, you'll be paid your salaries. Everything will be alright, But having said that, it's already about a sense of responsibility. It's already to fit in. I had orders to fulfill. I had my customers to be responsible to. I was the only shareholder at that time, but nobody else to answer to, but it was the customers' orders. We had received their down payments. So there was a sense of responsibility there. Then there was a lot of uncertainty. How long would we be able to go along with this, to continue this and all that? So as I said earlier, manufacturing is not easy. It's a battle day in, day out. Okay, there are 101 issues in manufacturing. You go in, there are people issues, there are machinery issues, equipment issues. Customers are calling you non-stop, and then we're doing export international business. But I think one of my characteristics, my traits that has helped me well is that I have a sense of patience, or a sense of perseverance, to just hang in there and not give up just yet.
The thing I learned from Mr. Ang is, Mr. Ang is the type of person never give up, never say no. So I try to follow their character in my workplace.
When our sales are dropped, he can't manage to pay the salary of the workers. Even that time, he personally encouraged all the staff and explained to them his situation. and not even by word, by action. He willing to help the employee who need money by giving as much he can. Even personally for me also, when I don't have money to pay the rental or eat, he willing to give. He don't want his employees to trouble, so he willing to help.
Regarding leadership, just now earlier I said, leaders are made, not born, right? If I recognize a leader within my workforce, I want to give them a lot of authority, a lot of autonomy in doing their work. I don't interfere.
I admire and I'm still practicing in my life is learning to ask questions. He will always tell me, be bold and ask questions. Do not worry about the answer because the answer will always be yes or no.
So I won't consider them factors, but I consider them more like the results of mine being in this industry for so long. Now, naturally, in a business, it will be number one to my shareholders. So to them, it is not a factor, it's a result. Whether I've achieved the numbers, the profitability, the balance sheet of the company is better now, whether the growth is there in the revenue. If my customers have been with me for a long time, if we have had a relationship with the customers that's been built up over years, and that regardless of where I am, where we are at which point of the company, they can still remember to call me if they need something that's related to gloves and condoms. And then I have my other stakeholders, which are like my employees. Many of them have been in service with me for more than 10 years, right? So that speaks volumes. One of the main things that has also kept me going and to feel that I've done my part is my workers. Now, I always have this personal belief that the world is growing. There are more and more people being born into the world. And how are we going to feed 7.8 billion people? How are we going to put food on the table for 7.8 billion people? You see, a lot of the world's problems arise when you don't have food on the table. That's where you incubate terrorists. That's where you have a lot of protests and all that. It's always about putting food on the table. We run a business that supports 160 workers, not just 160 workers, because each one of them would have a family of 4. So we're talking about, I'm supporting about, 600 to 700 people. In the last 10 years, this has, come across my mind, a light bulb moment that, a lot of people like to do like NGO, social enterprise and all that. To me, running a business with many workers, it's like running a social enterprise. We are helping 600 to 700 people have a livelihood. So that's, to me, my greatest contribution to society in my own way.
He take care, he always time, he knows his worker what they need. He always time telling his worker, if you anything you want, you directly come me and meet me, and I help you, because he is my close contact. My family not here.
So I think business leaders these days have a lot to grapple with. We are living in a world where things are not only competitive, but are moving at a breakneck speed, moving at a speed so fast that by the time you implement something else comes up. And you have to deal with a lot of disruption. They must have an open mind now. It's hard these days because of the distraction that people have. But how do we get people to be at their best, to be invested in their work? It's going to be a struggle because of technology, because of social media. People are easily distracted. As a business leader, I know my calling, I know my reason, my mission and all that, but what about my employees, especially the younger people, to keep on drumming into them that, like what I've just said about what we do, right, that's relevant to society, to our stakeholders. Hopefully they share, they understand that mission too. I just have to add, some pizzazz into the work, into, like for example, it could be maybe a new brand project that we are doing together, and so sometimes my job is to maybe break it down into projects so that the employees will find that there's something to look forward to as well.
I'm so fortunate to have such a boss who always motivating and teach me and guide me everything about not even business, even the personal life, about future and everything. He always encouraged me to think out of the box.
COVID-19 pandemic has also shown us a lot about our leadership as a company and of course myself as a leader. Like many factories, a lot of our workers had to be tested for COVID. We could not escape the wrath of the COVID-19. We had actually quite a few workers who were infected, 31 out of our workforce. Thankfully, with technology, created a group with all our workers. But you could see that during this period when these workers were inside the quarantine center, if you were to look at some of the conversations, it's very good stories to hear and all that. These workers are the close relationship that our managers have with them, the sense of camaraderie between the workers and their supervisors and managers. You get a lot of sense of gratitude, sense of thanks, of the support between all of them. I would like to say that our workers and our local managers, supervisors, it's almost like a sense of kinship. The friendship is very strong. It's like a sense of family that we have built up here in SSM Medical Products.
When I think about Mr. Ang, I can say what that can be a mentor. Second, I can say he are the role model to the who those want to success in their business and management.
I like this job because of everybody very close, and I comfort this job. Do a job here another 3 years, I know is more. Then I go Bangladesh, I can teaching my family, like after I married my daughter, my son, I can teach them so how to respect people, time management, responsibility. He's a very good boss. He always take care of this company, operator and everything.
In the work, he always keep informing me the organizational happening. He will guide me time to time, and then most importantly, he will care for me as a friend, not just an employee. Most lesson which I admire is his humanity. Even though he is a boss, he will come down my level and then he will treat me as a friend, and then he is the person we can trust it. Even in the work or personal life, we can share anything to him. Mr. Clinton is a great leader and good boss which every employee should have.
If there's one thing that I would like to leave is that I think people should understand that whatever they're doing, it's beyond themselves. When I say that, means it should not be firstly number one all for personal financial gains. If they're going to be leaders in the future, there's a bigger picture. There are other stakeholders and it's beyond themselves. They have to be able to serve, right? What we call a servant leadership, who invested himself for a bigger, greater good. People say that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. What I've learned in the last 20 years is that you can never plan for life because life will plan for you. And life meaning God. You cannot plan because God will decide where your journey in life is going to take you. He has a plan for you and He has His ideas and missions. Be true to God, be true to yourself, right? And just trust and have faith in Him. The journey may be perilous, it may be hard, it may be winding, but the mountain top is waiting for you. So have faith in God, do your best, never give up, and that's all I want to say.